So now we're ready to design. The colors that we're creating are called wide variation and cape variation. The wide variations begin at about 7 inches and cape variations begin at 9 inches or more. So this collar in actuality can be a collar cape. If I simply make this thing big enough, if I keep going in this direction, because this is my neck, this is now heading down my center back. When I go in this direction, I can actually make a capelet out of it, or I can take it all the way down to the floor. I can literally have a collar, turns up, and it just keeps going all the way down. So wide variation begins at 7. No one makes a collar less than 7 inches. If you make this collar less than 7 inches, in other words, if you do all this slashing and spreading, and then you go and make a narrow collar, what it's going to do is it's just going to sit up in the air, just like this. Because it's looking for a large area to cover, but it isn't there. So it just pops up and it sits just like that. Okay, you have to be at least 7 inches or more with this variation for this collar. Okay, so I've got my back here. Here's my neck. I got my pieces, and I go like this. Let me go over here where you guys can see. Okay, so I've got this. Here's my shoulder. I think my neck is in here someplace. There's some business going on like that. And then I've got 1 piece, and I've got 2 pieces, and I've got 3 pieces, and I've got this other piece angled at the bottom, so I'm a little beyond the bottom. Okay? So you have to go at least 7 inches. And again, this is my neck, so this is actually going down. I'm drawing in this direction, but I'm going down. Now, don't do this. I get these students who say, once again, I want a big collar. Say, swing around like this. You know, they want to make this big collar. My little pal is sitting over there. I want to make a big collar. I tell you, just remember that what's on the left side is on the right side. You don't want to be walking down the street with that in the back. Okay? I've seen collars like this.
Is that a hoodie?
Who?
A hoodie? Is it a big cape?
It's actually not a hoodie, but if I'm going to make a hood out of this collar, I actually wouldn't go to buy it. I actually would go to flat, and then I would actually be able to create the hood. Okay, so what you want to do is, after you've gone your 7 inches or more, you always want to at least square yourself for at least 1/4 inch. Then you want to create your big collar, because this way the back will mirror up, and then you won't have that little point there or that little biscuit going on in the back. Everything. So I'm going to go 7 inches, and then I'm going to square myself. So 7 inches. Like so.
It's 7 inches or more.
7 inches or more. And then I'm just going to square myself for at least 1/4 inch. And then I'm actually going to start designing. Now, I'm going to start with my lapel here. We know that the lapel is where the neckline curve. Now I'm just designing. Okay? The lecture portion of this, which is to do the slashing and spreading, is the lecture. At this point, everybody's on their own. So we can invoke that lecture from last week where we said we can slide this up and down, so I can come down a little bit more, maybe down to here, and I find the halfway point around this curve, because I'm going to lower my notch, and then I'm just going to change my neckline, like so. And we know that the lapel has to be where the neckline curve and the break line point intersects, down to the break point. So maybe my lapel might look like that. And now I'll design my collar. My collar might look sort of like, I'll do it like that. It's not terribly pretty, but, and that will be my collar. And of course, when I trace this through, it would have wound up like over here someplace, something like that. So this now becomes my collar, my lapel. So in other words, I'm going right back into the 121 lecture. After I do the slashing and spreading, I go my 7 inches, I go right back into the lecture all over again. Design my collar edge, design my lapel. I turn it back under because I have to take my lapel and get it off of my body. So I will fold that under and then trace that through, and that will wind up coming out here someplace, like so. And then of course, there's just the tracing of the pieces. So my body would be here. Of course, I have to have a buttonhole and all those other wonderful things. But I would go across here, like so, across here, down here, back around, back up, and back like that. There's my body there. And my lapel, my collar would be Here, we have a shoulder notch, and a notch a 1/4 inch in from center back. It will come down sort of like this, and down and around. And of course, we have a top collar and under collar and all those other wonderful things. But there is my collar, sitting right there. And of course, I can create an extension and facing and all those other wonderful things. Buttonhole, extension, facing, the curved ruler, 2 inches on my shoulder, finish off, BC outside. Of course, we have a top collar and under collar, so I would come out here, and back to 0 there. And then from here, I go from nothing, I come out 1/8, and I remain 1/8 all the way to center back. Is everybody clear on this?
Is undercolor always done with your hands?
Yes, well, no, the question is the undercollar always cut on true bias? No, it can be cut on bias or it can be cut on cross grain. It's never cut on the straight grain.
Okay, what's the difference in the two between bias and cross grain?
Well, the bias simply means that it's just going to be a softer roll. But we need the cross grain because the warp gives you more ease in filling. And that's the only reason.
Does it have to be circular?
Or it could be done with a non-woven fabric like a felt.
Could you do a knit
Hmm?
underneath? Then-
Could you do a knit?
Yeah.
You're the designer.
Does it have to be circular like how you did it?
What did I do that's circular? This area right here?
This the top part. We use like some people just go all the way out like that far.
It's because it would cause like a butt effect on the back. So
You talking about the
wanna
first collar
square
that I did? The one that...
No, this one in red.
Well, this one I squared.
No, I mean here on the side.
Down here?
It doesn't have to be.
Then you extend.
Yeah, this is a question of aesthetics. No, you design whatever you want to design. I could have done anything. I actually could have put a point there at the back. I could have put scallops. I could have put anything. Remember, once you've done this slashing and spreading and you've gotten this at the angle, whether you want it flat or whether you want to roll, at that point, you're purely designing. So you're going back into the 121 and you're just designing your lapel and designing your collar going back into your lapel.
Alright.
Okay. Questions on that? That's fairly simple.
So we're putting this on the princess lecture that we learned?
You're putting on this on the lecture that you're just doing. Okay, I'm going to do another collar. I'm going to do away from the neckline. So I'm going to do something like this, or like this right here. Anything else that's away from the neckline? Okay. So, and again, all these lectures are primarily similar. They just may have a small